Finna take off on spaceship. Y'all need some like Matrix. And fucking unless she nameless. Cause the last two was too famous. We got that trophy like a champion. Fell asleep right on the jet. We gone.
Big range just like a champion. No TSA, hop on a jet. We gone.
Smash out. I call my own and then I smash out. I bought my bros, let's get this cash out. I in my mind, drop the bag off, yeah. I'm going top rated, don't make no bad call. Just bought a new crib, but one was mad small. I trip my cup, I make it mad tall. None of these songs is basic, yeah. Grease stuck in my teeth like braces, yeah. VVS's don't need LASIK, yeah. Ice out cross is freezing Satan, yeah. Finna take off on spaceship. Y'all need some like Matrix. And fucking unless she nameless. Cause the last two was too famous.
Welcome back to Dynasty Decisions, everybody. I'm your host, Michael Bauer. Week 2 is in the book, or at least it will be by the time you get to watch this. Currently, there's 3 seconds left in the Monday night game. That's when I record this. Lions are up 17-14, and they're going to go into the half like that. From this game, like I said, I'm doing it midway through the game. I don't have anything to talk about this game so much, but a couple prospects from this game I like a lot. So I'm just going to touch on them real quick, and these are Dynasty guys. 2 of them are Lions. One of them is a Green Bay Packer. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was draft pick this year, 4th rounder out of USC. I like him a lot. Last year's 5th round draft pick for the Detroit Lions, Quintez Cephas, another wide receiver from the University of Wisconsin, guy that could block. It could block really well. These are 2 Lions that I like, and I really feel like the Lions are kind of starting to right the ship here. You got DeAndre Swift. Jared Goff is not a bad quarterback. By the way, he got most of his points in garbage time. Who cares? They're points. Thank you, Jared Goff. I have him in a couple spots, and he did really well for me last week. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, Quintez Cephas, I think these are going to be guys of the Lions wide receiver staple for a while. They are mid-round NFL draft investments. So that means that your investment to acquire them for your dynasty team should be fairly minimal. So if you can, go grab them. And Green Bay Packers running back Kylan Hill. If you know me, if you follow me, you know I love Kylan Hill. I had him at one point in time ranked as my number 3 pre-draft running back. I'd only scouted 3 running backs at the time, so take that with a grain of salt. But there isn't really much that he can't do. He runs great between the tackles. He can catch the ball. He is a tough running back. Love him. We all know some of the other guys on the team. Devontae Adams. The running back Aaron Jones, the name was escaping me. Aaron Rodgers. They're stacked with some aging vets. Robert Tunyon's still there. I still believe in Jay Sternberger. Yes, that's true. I roster him in a lot of spots. Thank you, Dynasty Planet, for pointing that out to me. But just a couple things I wanted to touch on there while this game was on. I'm actually going to go ahead, turn that off so I'm not distracted. I apologize about that. But listen, people are starting to panic. It's week 2. We're supposed to be having fun. Maybe you're 2-0 in a couple spots. Maybe you're 1-1. Maybe you're 0-2. I have some teams that I'm undefeated. I got some 1-1 teams. I got some 0-2 teams. But so let's take a minute and let's chill. Let's relax, okay? Everything is going to be okay. I'm here. We're going to talk through it. Let's get started, though. Injuries. A lot of guys are bitten by the injury bug. Our former quarterback has 2 sprained ankles. So he's on pace for 17 sprained ankles this season. Somehow. Look at this. Quarterback injuries, ankles. So in comes Jacob Eason, a guy that I was high in the pre-draft process last year. But he was 2 for 5 for 25 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interceptions. Man, I'll tell you what. The thing that concerns me if Jacob Eason starts is Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines is a guy that I was really, really super high on, or maybe he would be better. Maybe I should be thinking about this the other way. Maybe Michael Pittman, who went 8 for 123 and no touchdowns, and Zach Pascal, 5 for 38 and 1 touchdown. Maybe these are the guys that are going to be affected. But I still think, actually, you know what, now that I'm talking and thinking through it, I think Pittman's probably the guy that's going to get affected the most by it. Look at Zach Pascal, 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. If you just plucked him off your waiver wire, let's say you were banking on OBJ coming back, he was a scratch. You're like, man, I need somebody off the waiver wire. Zach Pascal comes in now, 5 catches for 38 yards. That's not anything great. as far as receiving yardage wise, but if you're in PPR format, that's 8.8 points, which is better than 0. Obviously, it was more last week with 2 touchdowns, and that was just me not including the touchdown in that formulation. That equates to 14.8 points, which is still great. You're definitely going to take that. You have no problem with that. So Colts are dealing with some injuries there. Who else is really getting hammered with injuries? Man, 49ers. Tough game on Sunday. Really wish the Birds would have pulled it out. I believe in Nick Sirianni. He's going to right the ship here. But one thing that I did like, we could see until there's some clarity that Elijah Mitchell appears to be the primary ball carrier in San Francisco. JaMychal Hasty did get some run. He got an ankle injury. His status is going to be in doubt. Trey Sermon got a concussion on his only carry. He got a concussion. That's tough. So he's most likely going to be out next week. Trenton Cannon was activated off where he was scooped up off the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. He's a guy that you might want to look into. Maybe if you have a really deep roster, but Elijah Mitchell didn't get a lot done. I will say this, though. It looks like the Eagles have a pretty legitimate defense. So take this with a grain of salt. 17 carries, 42 yards, 2 catches for 11 yards. So if you plucked them up off the waiver wire and stuck them in your lineup, you got some points. Okay, and that's fine. Looks like you got about 7.3 points from him. You could have done worse. A 0 is always worse. Don't forget that. Some other injuries here. We're going to talk about some quarterback injuries. So Tua's got a rib injury, and that's going to be about pain management, really. We're going to see what he does there. Baker Mayfield dislocated his non-throwing shoulder. So again, that's going to be pain management. The backups there are Jacoby Brissett for Tua and Case Keenum for the Browns. Another guy that got beat up a little bit is, let me flip my Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be out a while. It looks like it could be a month. Davis Mills came in 8 of 18 for 102 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Let's talk about Davis Mills. When the whole Deshaun Watson thing went down, the Texans took Davis Mills in the 3rd round out of Stanford. Davis Mills, he has some talent. Davis Mills only also started 1 season, so he's a very, very raw player. This actually would have been a really good situation for him, sitting behind a guy like Tyrod Taylor. Is Tyrod Taylor a great quarterback? Not really, but he's an NFL capable starting quarterback that would have been really good to bring this young man along. So Davis Mills is going to be a little bit of a trial by fire. As far as of the 3, which one of those would I like best? Him, Case Keenum, or Jacoby Brissett? Honestly, probably Case Keenum. I think some of the receiving weapons are better in Cleveland. And I'm not talking about the wide receivers. Actually, the wide receivers, they took another hit. Jarvis Landry, MCL sprain. Kevin Stefanski saying he might not miss time. It could be 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm talking about their backs and tight ends. Nick Chubb can catch. Kareem Hunt obviously is a very, very gifted receiving running back. Then you have guys like Austin Hooper and Harrison Bryant. So these are guys that Case Keenum can get the ball down to. I do think Baker Mayfield's going to play, though. OBJ, I don't know if he's going to be back. Some of the guys that could benefit if OBJ are out, as well as Jarvis Landry, we got guys like Rashad Higgins. I think he's still there. Donovan Peoples-Jones, last year's 6th-round draft pick out of Michigan. You want to talk about a speedster? I love me some Donovan Peoples-Jones. Even though I hate Michigan, I am a Penn State fan. We are. And Harrison Bryant, backup tight end. Maybe they do more 2 tight end sets, stuff like that. Those are just some of the guys that I would pluck off there. So we talk about some of these guys. Hey, is J.D. McKissick a thing now? I mean, he was really good last year. Taylor Heineke comes in, 34-46, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's a guy to pick up if you're missing out on Baker, if he misses time, Wentz, Tua. If Heineke's still out there, scoop him up. You know he is starting with Fitzpatrick out. And you know what? If you're in a super flex league and some of these guys are available on waivers, if you say, I don't need a quarterback, but then your guy gets hurt, you all of a sudden need a quarterback and you missed out. Well, guess what? If you just get these guys now, if you have the bench spot for them, they can't hurt you. They can't be used against you when they're on your bench. Scoop them up, stash them. You never know. Maybe use them to trade. Do whatever you want. But McKissick, not great on the ground as far as yardage wise. 2.5 yards per carry, 4 carries, 10 yards. Did have a touchdown, but 5 catches for 83 yards. Antonio Gibson was good on the ground, though. 13 carries, 69 yards. So he averaged 5.3 yards per carries, but only 2 catches for 4 yards. I don't know what the football team is doing Terry McLaurin is a bona fide stud. Logan Thomas is going to be extremely startable. I think he finishes as tight end 1, so I'm getting really excited and knocking my mouse around. But look, maybe if Taylor Heineke is in, J.D. McKissick's a really, really good running back too. He's a really good flex spot. I don't hate that. I think he outscored Miles Sanders this week. Probably outscored Ezekiel Elliott too. I haven't really looked into that yet. We talked about Pascal, Pittman Jr., talked about them. And Latavius Murray, you could do worse. 9 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown. Now, again, the yardage wasn't there, but that's almost 10 points from a backup running back. You know the Baltimore Ravens are going to run the ball. You know that the defense knows that. They cannot stop them. Latavius Murray, probably out there on a lot of waivers. Tyson Williams gets hurt. Latavius Murray is the next guy up. It's that easy. Not if, but when Tyson Williams gets hurt, because I don't know, apparently the Baltimore Ravens cannot keep a running back healthy. I don't know what's going on. Someone needs to look into that. Josh Jacobs is still questionable. He's got those injuries. Kenyon Drake was a little bit of a disappointment for me to make up with it with some PPR work. Dalvin Cook was hurt yesterday. I think he was cut off or walked off. I don't know the update there, but I can tell you if he's out, Alexander Madison is the guy that's going to get the bulk of the carries. So he would be the guy that you would want to pick up. And aside from that, Zach Ertz was placed on the reserve COVID list today. So I think Jack Stoll is going to be the guy that's going to step up next if Zach Ertz is out. And Stoll's been playing a lot. They've been doing a lot of 3 tight end sets in Philadelphia. Was kind of disappointed with the play calling last week. Nick Sirianni was disappointed in the play calling last week. So non-fantasy point here, it's really nice to see a coach with some accountability instead of saying we got to do a better job, got to put my guys in. Yeah, hey, that was not a good play call. So it was really, really nice to see from that standpoint, Nick Sirianni saying that. But Stoll's a guy they liked. Undrafted guy out of Nebraska. Admittedly, I didn't know much about him. I watched some film. I liked him. They don't throw to the tight end a lot at Nebraska. Probably why he went undrafted. There's not much film. He's athletic. He can block. He can run after the catch. Man, I'll tell you what, if one of these two guys, Goddard or Zach Ertz, leaves, I like Jack Stoll a lot. Also, it would be interesting to see if they bring a guy like Dick Rod back. If he comes back, then he's a guy that I'd be interested in. Tyree Jackson's still on that short-term IR. Personally, if it was me, I'd just shut him down for the whole year. Just let him be shut down. Let him adjust to being a tight end, although he did look good. The Rams running back Darrell Henderson, he did have a rib cartilage injury. Sony Michel got about 10 or 11 carries yesterday, so that's something to watch out for. If this injury lingers, Sony Michel could steal a lot of work from Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson is a guy that I want to acquire in my Dynasty leagues right now. Cam Akers tore his Achilles in preseason. Achilles are notoriously hard to come back for any player, especially a running back. Kind of need your legs to run. We did talk about Tyrod Taylor. So Derek Carr is also questionable with an ankle injury. His backup is Nathan Peterman, and I'm staying far, far away from Nathan Peterman. Watch some Nathan Peterman highlights when he was with the Buffalo Bills. You will understand exactly why I'm far off on Nathan Peterman. So that's all I got for you today. I just wanted to touch on kind of the important stuff here, some things that I think stood out for me from week 2. If there's any dynasty questions you have, that is my main focus, hence dynasty decisions. But I do redraft. Best ball, you're not setting any lineups. They set it for you. I do redraft. I dabble in DFS. That is not my specialty, so don't ask me any DFS advice. It did win $8 last week, though. I mean, it only cost me like $30 to win it. So, hey, that's it from me. And as they say to close it out on this channel, go Birds.